Hi, and welcome to the third part of our video clip series entitled The Secrets of Literary Hebrew. This is where we teach you the optimal way to learn Hebrew, thanks to which you'll master the most essential part of your Hebrew studies, literary Hebrew. Finally, thanks to the Moses method, you'll be able to read the weekly Bible portion, newspapers, prayers, songs and plays, and of course, take part in discussions and lectures in Hebrew. First of all, I'd like to thank all of our viewers who sent feedback about the first two parts of the series. We were swamped with positive feedback from people who agreed about the importance of concentrating on the Hebrew roots and how written Hebrew is the key to improving our spoken Hebrew. People called to tell how much the examples in the previous video clip helped them realize what's most critical in their studies. I'm sure that some of you are asking yourselves why focusing on the written language is so important rather than improving your spoken language before anything else. As you know, babies first learn how to speak, and only afterwards do they learn the written language. The answer is simple. The Moses method recognizes that as the language of the Bible, the foundation of Hebrew comes from the written word. That makes it the basis for understanding the rest of the language. As soon as you learn that foundation and the rules of written Hebrew, you can communicate in Hebrew easily. But it doesn't always work the other way around. If you first listen how to speak, you may not be able to read and write in Hebrew. And apart from the vocabulary you learn, you won't have the tools to understand the inner workings of the language and enjoy the cultural wealth it offers. So today, we'll focus on the most important part, the process of building the foundation on which all the other knowledge rests. It includes choosing the right learning method to build the foundation, which gives us the reading, writing, and speaking skills we need. And thanks again to everyone who wrote us. If you haven't yet seen the first or second part of the video clip series, the link to them appears above. One simple click is all you need. I strongly recommend that you watch them before watching the present clip. For those of you who have seen the first two parts about the Moses method, please note that this part will be longer because it goes into more detail. So get comfortable and let's get started.
Let's start with two important questions that we hear repeatedly in the context of advanced Hebrew studies. We will answer them straight and to the point. The first question is, what's the difference between literary Hebrew and everyday Hebrew? And the second question that's asked over and over again is, how long will it take to reach a high level of Hebrew? The difference between everyday Hebrew and literary Hebrew is that literary Hebrew is a clean and more exact language that is less influenced by Israeli slang. Literary language is not open to slang from other cultures. On the other hand, everyday Hebrew is influenced by the slang existing in other cultures. Another difference is the vocabulary. Literary Hebrew contains a much richer vocabulary compared to the everyday language. Its style is different than everyday Hebrew, and it's based on the vocabulary of the written language of the Bible, rabbinic literature, the Mishnah, modern literature, and scholarly articles. In regard to the second question about how long it will take to reach a high level, the early stage of learning Hebrew is based on the everyday language and takes about 2 years, assuming that, on average, a student attends a class once a week. Students who take a more intensive course can read literary texts after 18 months. The encounter with these texts is meant to challenge the student because the power of Hebrew is found in the written language. Slowly but surely, students are introduced to cultural content. And as more time passes, they find they are motivated to keep on studying and improve so they can learn even more literary texts.
What's the right way to acquire knowledge? Ayala is fond of telling a personal childhood story. Her father owned a fruit and vegetable store in Haifa. Every day, he would get up at 4 in the morning and drive to the wholesale market in the city to buy produce for his store and the customers who would come there during the day. One summer vacation, when her brother was 17, he asked their father for some money. "How much do you need?" the father asked him. And her brother replied, 2,000 shekels. "No problem. Join me every day next week and when I go to the market, and in exchange, I'll give you the 2,000 shekels. Her brother didn't understand why he had to join their father on his daily trips to the market to buy fruits and vegetables. He tried to get out of it by saying, "You know, you won't earn any more money if I come with you." But my father was insistent. At the end of the first day, as soon as her brother came home, he didn't stop complaining. It was really annoying. I had to go watch Dad bargain with the wholesalers. We had to inspect and weigh the merchandise, talk with the wholesalers, and have coffee with them, and make sure that the workers didn't take some of the crates when loading the merchandise on the truck. And only at about 6:30 did we actually drive to the store. Her brother, who didn't want to get up again at 4 in the morning just to accompany her father to the market and watch him bargain with the wholesalers, came up with another idea which he proposed to Dad. Give me the 2,000 shekels, and in exchange, I'll help you arrange the merchandise on the shelves in the store after you get back from the market. But my father didn't agree. So the rest of the week, her brother was forced to join my dad on trips to the market so he could get the money he wanted. For the remainder of the summer, her brother, who was a big spender, had to accompany their father many more times on his trips to the market. At the end of the summer, her brother asked, "Dad, why did you insist that I come to the market with you every morning? I could have helped you much more by arranging the merchandise in the store while you were attending to other things." And their father's answer was, "When you grow up, you will understand." Her brother went on to become a successful businessman at an early age, and when he's asked how he learned to be successful, his answer is that he doesn't know exactly, but that it's something passed on from father to son. It's simply in the genes, he says, and smiles. Later on in life, her brother understood that their father's insistence on him coming to the market and watching how their father made connections and bargains with the wholesalers and selected the merchandise were the kinds of tools that made her brother into a successful businessman. If their father had agreed to her brother's proposal and allowed him just to arrange the produce on the shelves, he would not have acquired those skills. Anyone can arrange fruits and vegetables on the shelves, but to run your own business, you need to know how to choose quality merchandise at the best prices. Two key insights can be gained from this story. The first, that it's always better to give someone a fishing rod rather than a fish. As the famous proverb says, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to catch fish and you feed him for a lifetime." Learning skills and ways to do things on your own is always better and more effective than when someone serves you something that's ready-made. The second is the process by which we learn the skills which stay with us for a lifetime. That process enables us to utilize the skills in order to grow even more. The same is true when it comes to learning a language, and in particular Hebrew. We often believe that if we're taught as many words as possible, it will give us a command of the language. Actually, understanding the logic behind the words correctly and effectively and learning a technique for putting new words together, those are the keys to building a solid foundation in Hebrew. And that is the way to master the language quickly and easily. And that's what we're about to show you now, the perfect technique for learning the foundation of the Hebrew language. You'll discover which things are important to examine before beginning to learn literary Hebrew and how to create a stable foundation that will enable you to understand the language and make your continued studies and command of Hebrew easier. The perfect way to learn literary Hebrew consists of 6 stages. I suggest you make sure that the course you choose offers all of them. The first stage is learning the patterns we spoke about in the previous videos, into which we pour roots and create words. The patterns are divided into 2 categories. The verb patterns help learn Hebrew verbs in the present, past, future, and imperative, including new words. The noun patterns help us improve our writing skills and make fewer spelling mistakes. After making sure that the course you choose includes learning the foundation of the language, helping you gain a full and broad understanding of the material, you can continue checking out the other stages. The second stage is being introduced to short and famous stories in literary Hebrew. Learning them provides a cultural dimension. To really get connected with a language and know the culture it creates, you must include well-known texts in your studies. That way you'll gradually develop self-instruction methods. The third stage is consulting with someone who is an expert in learning strategies for students studying Hebrew as a second language. Part of that process is guiding you and setting targets. It will also guarantee that you can monitor and measure the targets. The fourth stage is that a teacher checks your homework. When you learn Hebrew, make sure you have an option to check and test yourself to see whether you're meeting the targets that either you or the teacher have set. Another important thing is the teacher-student relationship, which is intended to ensure that you're making progress according to the plan. The fifth stage is listening to audio files. For many years now, we've seen self-instruction methods based only on books and workbooks. But when you learn a language, the pronunciation of words is also very important. And that's why the audio files are narrated by a professional. The sixth stage is a forum and weekly session where you can reinforce what you've learned, which includes being able to ask questions and receive answers.
We hope this explanation has put everything in perspective so you'll know what to pay attention to when choosing a Hebrew study method. We know you must have a lot of questions, comments, and insights, and you're invited to share them with us here. We're about to launch a course called The Root of the Matter, which gives students the foundation for learning literary Hebrew. We'll tell you more about it in the next few days. What we will say now is that we'll be with you every step of the way. We're sure it will work for you just like it has worked for so many other students over the years. So there's definitely something to look forward to, and we'll provide more details about the new course very soon. In the meantime, you're welcome, of course, to comment here, and we'll see each other soon. Thank you.